This episode was recorded in 2025. Content reflects information and perspectives during the time of recording.
Welcome to season 2 of Beneath the Surface. I'm John Sabo, and my special guest today is Marmo, aka Big Marms, as mostly everyone knows him here. Want to just go back, I think, going through all the different things at Deepwell over the years, and Mark being here from the get-go, going back from where we came from and going through some of those things to get everybody a little bit more of that knowledge today is going to be a really good thing. Throwing it over to you, Mark, I think going back to the old days, I want to talk about the old days a little bit. What do you think?
That's fine. It's a long time ago. No doubt about that.
Definitely. The initial story, just getting in the door at Deepwell, which was Sun Energy at the time. Maybe tell everybody kind of what that looked like.
Yeah. So I was working with Irfan, Andre, Marty at Talisman Energy, and got approached by the people at Three Rivers that used to own us, or back in 2012, and they were starting this business with Tracy and Johnny, and asked me to come on as the CFO at the time. And when we started here, we had 25 people. And that first year, we did $7 million of revenue and lost almost $3 million. So it was right from the beginning a big failure. So, but I had no idea what I was doing, requesting to actually take over running the company, not just being the CFO. So I did. You came on, I think, about a year later?
2013, yeah.
2013, yeah, because I started in 2012. Actually, prior to that, but my official start date was 2012. So came on then, a year later, and then, we started making a difference with, what the key is at the time was hiring the right people.
100%. So, and I think, going back in the day, it was important to us to try to surround ourselves with like-minded people. Mm-hmm. And, going back even before that, before you got the Deepwell, before you got the Talisman, just growing up, where you grew up and how you were molded into, what came to be your core values. You talk a little bit about, back in the day and just kind of, what shaped you.
My father shaped everything that I've done. He still does. He's the only guy on earth, only person on earth that's my hero, right? So, but the big thing is, and I said this one time we were down in the city in front of some people, I was taught to be relentless, right? That's the word that I think I drive my whole life off of, is being relentless. I'm not a blue blood, grew up in Penn Hills. I definitely didn't have the academic career that most have. So it was really just learning how to, again, it's building relationships with people, surrounding yourself with people that are way more talented than you, and learning how to be relentless, right? Don't give up. Because especially in this, if you're not relentless in the oil field, you're not going to survive.
Yeah. And, that's going to get echoed from the mountaintops at Deepwell.
Yeah.
That's one of the biggest things for us that we've been through over the years. And I was doing a coaching segment last week in how to lead through challenging times. And we have timelines over the years and obstacles and things that we face to be able to bring up. But just going through that and speaking in front of the group and getting feedback from people at Deepwell, it's like super empowering for people to be able to hear it. And I think especially for newer people come to the organization that may not have been here through all those trials and tribulations, it's really cool. Over the years, you've given me a ton of different things, and I think some of the things as far as from a mentorship and a coaching perspective, things of that nature. But one of the biggest things too is just getting a mentor, and listening. And you don't know what you don't know. And you've always said that to me. And that's something I've always carried throughout the career at Deepwell. If there was one piece of advice you could give to your younger self, or a piece of advice that you could give to somebody that's starting their career here, what would it be?
Don't worry as much. Because if you do surround yourself with the right people, and you are relentless, all of that worry, for a lot of it's for naught, right? It's never as bad as you think. If you have good people around you, do not let the worry roll your life. And it rolled my life for many, many years.
Yeah, and I think that's, obviously a great one, especially when you're talking to people about leading through challenging times. There's always light at the end of the tunnel, no matter how bad you think it is. It's not as bad.
That's right.
Tomorrow's going to be a better day. You just got to have that type of mindset. looking at it, from the company, and I'd just go back. I want to go back to just talking through it as far as our culture goes. I remember, 2014, we got some of our key leaders together, and we did a process with a consultant that came in, talked a lot about Carlton Ritz Hotel and their core values, and how everywhere across the world they focus on that different core value. And we sat in a room with our core group, and a lot of that stuff still stands true today going through it. But you want to talk a little bit about the culture and as far as your vision through that and how we've been able to keep that strong through the years?
Yeah, I think, again, you mentioned the word mentor earlier, right? And one of the mentors of Deepwell that made us, I think, what we are today, no doubt in my mind, is Chuck Ganares. If Chuck wouldn't have introduced that whole, I didn't understand what culture truly was. I thought it was political correctness right back in the day. And I remember that meeting. It was upstairs, old conference room,
Old
right?
paneling,
Right,
shag,
old
shag
paneling,
floors.
yeah. So, and I remember that specifically, what he said and what he did. The Ritz-Carlton, right? So from there, we had that meeting, and I always think back to one thing. We were listening to him. I was thinking about something even my grandmother told me. I used to go fishing every summer with my grandparents, my uncle, up on the St. Lawrence River. And my great uncle was with us. I was telling Barbie and Scott earlier, I had 2 great uncles that were priests, three great aunts that were nuns. And, in a family like that, if you're treated as the leader, you're the matriarch, right? And my grandmother would always cater to my uncle. And I asked her one day, I was like, Gran, why do you do that? Why do you cater to him so much? She goes, Mark, I'm going to tell you, you live your life this way, it's going to change. You should be a servant on earth. I'm a servant. And I've really figured that, and this may sound corny to everybody that knows me, but that's how I live my life. I feel like I'm a servant to others. And building the culture back in the day was to actually become a servant to others, make others' lives better, right? Have them make money, and change their lives for the better. Be a part of that.
Yeah, so. And that's just a story that so many people here can talk to. I know even personally for me, being a kid growing up in the Still Valley area, go back 30 years, there's a lot of people that, would have doubted the opportunity or the success that was able to come. And I owe a big part of that to Deepwell, and I'll never forget it, and I think the servant,
I do too.
Like the servant leadership mindset that you're speaking of, that's to me what's wrapped up in the culture. And it's so important for us to keep teaching, coaching, and mentoring others. When we started, we had 30 some odd, 40 some employees, and now you got 650. So there's a lot more ambassadors we need to be spreading the message.
650 families,
right,
that rely on what we do and to make their lives better.
Yep. Speaking a little bit deeper on the culture, and we have so many different things, but maybe something that even stands out to you specifically for Deepwell, say a turning point, or you seen the culture in action, or something that you'd like to really, put out there that may resonate with the people.
There's a couple things. The thing that is probably the most important, I think, was when Mark Jones passed. And I remember Dave, Brian, and myself were up at the site, and we gave you and Aaron a call. And we said, hey, we've got to start reaching out to our customers, and here's what we have to do. And immediately, it was a Saturday, I think it was, if I remember correctly, right? By Sunday, they had called you guys reached out to everyone. And we got, ahead of this horrible ordeal, right? That was the one thing that I'll never forget of anything in my career. It's just how we reacted. We came together at that time.
Yeah, and I have a lot of stories around that too, and I think I'll never forget the phone call. The phone call that I got. It was right around 3:30 in the morning, and then my job was to get on a plane and go out to Kansas and visit with.
Yeah, I gave you that call. We were riding up, and actually it was Jed that called and said, hey, you need to get somebody, and immediately there was no one else that came to mind other than you. I called you, and you were like, all right, I'll leave right now.
Yeah, and I'll never forget even, over the, ensuing weeks and months and so forth through there, I just seen, throughout the company, just a lot of people stepping up and, people that really had to find some additional inner strength to be able to get that out. And a lot of people, and some surprised me in how much they did step up throughout that time. So, that to me, I think, that changed us, and it changed us forever. I also look at it now as what we've done with the training center, what we've done with, the simulator, what with the training competency program, globally accredited now, all those different things that we're doing now as a business, and really looking at that as, something that we're every single day trying to grab some positive out of to change people's lives in a positive manner and move forward the right way. So I appreciate you bringing that one up. That's absolutely huge.
I said there were a couple. One other, I think that really just started to change the tone of the company was when we started, and people like Sean, Brian came in, we had Dave come in different roles, Dustin. Those guys came in and they really started to help us professionalize the business, and then really able to then to start concentrating on how to become a real company. So I think those two, the Mark Jones death and those guys coming on.
Yeah, that's absolutely been huge for the company. And I think it also is a testament to the type of people that we want to bring in here, the like-minded people that face adversity and face challenges going into it instead of running away from it. I think that's definitely something that we can tell a lot of stories around here at Deepwell. Shifting gears a little bit, I think, talking a little bit about what's going on now, as far as a quick snapshot, business-wise, direction of the company, direction of the industry, some of the things that we're seeing right now, give everybody a little bit of behind the scenes on that.
Yeah, we'll talk about it. Obviously, everyone knows that we closed a deal in March of this year and sold to a group out of the UAE. I'm sure everyone knows that. We're going to be going offshore with some units. So by 2028, we're already planning to be doing $100 million of revenue just in the Middle East.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah. So again, and that you don't get that accomplished unless you have great people. You have Matt, Kevin, Albert has been those are the three key guys that have been working over there. So that's internationally. Domestically, I think knock on wood, we're going to probably set an all-time record quarter for the most revenue, and here in the fourth quarter, after having a very dismal third quarter. But again, we've asked people to ramp up, and people have stepped up. We're able to meet that demand. Again, I can't stress enough. That's culture. That's great people being around, right? People stepping up. And there is sacrifice. We're going to make mistakes. All in all, I think we need to really be proud of how well we have done in, I think, the hardest market we've ever had, you and I here at Deepwell. It's been harder than the downturns. It's been harder than the Mark Jones fatality. It's been harder than when we lost 2 units back to back in Canada, and then COVID. This year has been harder than any of them, and we've executed.
Yeah, and that's, just a testament to how we get after things relentlessly. And it brings up another point, and we've talked a lot about it over the years, and, looking at what's our goal as a business, right? And it's to take care of our families, to make sure food is getting put on the table. But the other side of it is to be recession proof.
Right.
We keep our people working, and no matter what the market is, we have a successful place where people can get up and go to work every day and make sure that that's happening.
Marty mentioned that to me. We were in the UAE. Can't stress enough, how impressive it is. Even when times are down like this, we're still working, and that's Deepwell. That's the people of Deepwell once again, because there are a lot of companies out there that aren't working as much as we are, right? We have the largest fleet in the world of what we do. It's hard to keep, altogether we have 26 units. It's hard to keep 26 units going. It's hard to keep 10 units going, right? So we have started to do that with deep-welling the pad. What we're doing there is definitely it's recession-proofing the business, right? We have all the other services under us that we can manage. You have to use Deepwell. You have to use Deepwell because we have Boresight, right? And we have the great engineers that we have here and handling those kinds of things. So I feel that, again, this is, like I said, no harder year. It's the hardest year for me. But we're going to be up year over year when all of our competition and most of the oil field is going to be down. revenue-wise, profit-wise. We still have good margins, and it's because of, being able to become recession-proof.
What piece of advice would you give to somebody that's starting something from scratch in today's energy market?
Find people. Find great people. People are they're more talented than you are, right? You got to set your ego aside. I have people on that we've, between Jim, Andre, Irfan, Marty, that have just recently, I can't match their wit at all, right? And I can't match the wit of the people that we have here prior. Find people that are much better, that are like-minded, set your ego aside and have at it. Because if you can get people to work together, influence behaviors of those people, you can actually do anything.
Yeah, and that's a great point. I always say it too, is everybody that comes through the door at Deepwell, just explaining to them what this place is, from every single person that works here, all of our field employees, all of our office positions, everybody is towing the rope on the same direction. But the other big part of it is I look at it as less than 1% of the population is capable of working here, regardless of position, whether they're in the field, whether they're in the office or in the shop. And in order to be able to have people that are like that, they're gonna be that way. They're gonna be relentless. That's the way they're gonna be here.
Look at Laura. There's nobody in this company that treats Deepwell's money like it's her own, right? She is intense as hell. I'm sure every supervisor out there can be like, yeah, okay, we do appreciate that. But Laura, you can't succeed without people like a Laura.
And we could probably talk for another hour on all the different people and how they're going after it and how much we appreciate it, which is awesome. And one of the reasons why we want to get together, looking at how we're setting the stage for things. What's bringing you confidence for the future as far as how we're setting the stage for what we're going to continue to do in the years to come?
I think with this year, we've added some serious talent that's going to help us go from that 200 million level to above. I feel great about the people that we've brought in. Obviously, the work that's going to be happening over in the Middle East, it's more consistent type work, not as profitable, but it's, you're guaranteed utilization. I feel great about that. And I feel great about really this whole thing around deep welling the pad. I think, Morgan has done a great job developing out Boresight. I feel very confident about the JVs that we have, Boresight, and the whole deep welling the pad. Very, very positive things coming our way.
So I think, one of the things we'll look at is just say a year from now, we revisit this conversation. What's some of the things you hope to be able to say about Deepwell a year from now?
The Permian, we've gained back market share. I think it's one of our weaknesses right now. We've got to get that back. And we will. We have some stuff, some initiatives in place, to go after that. We're working really hard, doing really well in the Bakken, developing that market out. I can't stress enough. It's deep welling the pad.
Yeah, that's
impressive. One of the big reasons we're able to be up year over year. It's very, very important what we're doing there.
Yep, and a lot more expansion coming on that side for the business. So that's going to be exciting for us to see. Why do you get up in the morning?
First and foremost, my two children. I tell everybody in the onboarding classes, they were my passion, right? I set my life up to make sure that they are set up. I was put on earth, really, as I said earlier, to be a servant. And it's my job to make sure their lives are taken care of going forward. That's number one. Number two, as much as everyone around here, you have seen me over the years be frustrated, negative towards things, or yell, I love this company. I really do. And I'm proud of there's no way in hell someone like me should be a CEO of a company that's international, doing as well as they're doing. I don't have the pedigree, right? I definitely don't have the intellect as most, but I get up every day because I'm just so proud of what we've been able to accomplish here. And hopefully, I think that we've changed many lives, and I hope that is the case.
Yeah, that brings up, it's the culture side of it, right? And I think about it all the time. Every single group that comes into Deepwell, I talk about it. I'm almost 13 years now. In 13 years, I haven't walked past you and you not say, how's your family? Before we get into whatever else we're going to get into, how's your family doing? And the follow-ups, or knowing the late night phone calls or the weekend phone calls that a lot of individuals throughout the company are making a lot of times, and you're always answering the phone, you're responding to text, or you're calling somebody back. To me, that type of servant leadership is something that's resonated through the business, and that's one of the biggest things that's allowed us to be successful.
You can't fake that, right? And you've got to be genuine in that respect. And I do make a point to reach out to as many people, and it is late night texts or a note to somebody. Jessica sends out the anniversaries every Friday. I make it a point by the end of that Friday afternoon, I have that whole list, and I've sent someone a thank you. So it's just about that whole mentality of you've got always every day you work on culture, and you have to be that servant.
Like to thank Mark today for being our honored special guest. Big Marms back in the house, and we love to see it. But we could also close with this. The 10-year, when you hit your 10-year, or I hit my 10-year, we had a little bet that we were going, right? And I remember, I'll never forget you calling me and saying, hey, John, when I hit 10 years, I'm getting a deep well tattoo. I was like, I'll do it. You do it, I do it. And then you hit your 10-year, then I hit my 10-year a year later. First thing I did when I hit my 10-year was went and got a tattoo. I sent you the picture. You said, book me an appointment.
Yeah.
And I'll never forget it, your conversation. I called around. I couldn't find anybody that was open. You said, you're in BD, you'll figure it out. Right? About 10 minutes later, we get it set up. And then it was really cool. I really appreciated it going with you for that tattoo, and just some of the conversations we had while that was happening.
You held my hand the whole way.
It was a cool thing. I'll never forget it. And it's pretty badass. And I could go into any meeting anywhere across the country. I hear people, I see these other service companies. I talk to CEOs, I talk to leaders in other companies, and I'll just stop at a certain point and say, hey, you got to tattoo your company? Because our CEO does.
Yeah,
right?
That's cool.
So something that's really cool. It sticks with me. Appreciate it.